The next subject we're going to discuss is constants. Earlier, we took a look at variables and how we can assign values to them. With variables, the nice thing about them is that they are dynamic, and you can change their value on the fly. This is nice if you have a variable that contains something like the price of gas. The price of gas changes, so if the script is run today, that variable should have a different value than if it were run in 2 weeks. That can be very useful, but what if the value is never going to change? The number of hours in a day is always going to be 24, no matter when the script is run. We don't need a variable. The value is not variable in this case, and it would be a good example of when to use a constant. In PHP, a constant is similar to a variable in that it holds a value. However, a constant will always contain the same value. A constant cannot be changed later. So, let's look at how to declare a constant. It's a little different than how we declare variables. To declare a constant, we need to use something called a function. We'll look more into what functions are in a later video, but for now, just know that a function is a repeatable block of code that you can call with a single line of code. It'll make more sense once you see an example. To declare a constant, we use the define function. You can write your own functions, or you can use the built-in functions included in the PHP library. The define function is included in the PHP library. To call a function, you type the name of the function, in this case, define, followed by open and closing parentheses. Follow that with a semicolon to end the line. That's all there is to calling the function, but some functions take what's known as parameters. A parameter is just a piece of data, like a variable, that we pass in to the function, so that the function has access to that piece of data. Let me show you what I mean. To call the define function, we need to pass in 2 parameters, the name of the constant that we are defining, and the value to be assigned to that constant. The name will always be a string. The same rules apply to naming a constant as when we're naming a variable. The one difference is, and this is not required, but more of a custom that most PHP developers follow, is to name your constant in all capitals. You'll see why later, but trust me, name your constants in all caps. So, let's pass in the first parameter. You pass parameters into functions by writing them inside the parentheses, with each value separated by a comma. First, we have the name of the constant, in this case, hours underscore in underscore day. Next, we need to pass in the value of the constant, which is 24. Put a comma after this string here, and a space, and 24. Let's create another one. Define, parentheses, semicolon. We'll name this one days underscore in underscore week, and give it a value of 7. That's all there is to defining constants. Now, let's take a look at how to use them after they've been defined. With a variable, we had to include a $sign before the name when using it. With a constant, all you have to do is type the name. This is why it's good to name your constants in all caps. I'll put echo hours in day. With hours in day in all caps, it stands out, and you know that hours in day is a constant. If I refresh the page, it echoes the value of the hours in day constant, 24. The important thing to remember is this can never change value. Using constants ensures that you won't accidentally add 1 to the number of hours in a day, bumping it up to 25, messing up all your scripts that depend on that number in the process.